Hello, Rusudan. How are you?
Hello, Nina. I'm well. What about you?
I'm good. So today, as we're doing this as part of first episode of on the episodes on Georgian female artists, and I'm glad that you are able to join us from Tbilisi. And I'm proud of our collaboration over the years, and also that you were part of the book King is Female, and that's pretty much how this idea for this video series started. And so I have the presentation, and I would like to talk to you and go through the paintings, and we can discuss your process more. So hold on.
Thank you. I'm also glad to be included with the list of these beautiful artists from Georgia. Thank you.
Welcome. Hold on. You're able to see my screen? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. You see the presentation, right?
Yes, I do.
Wonderful. Okay, so let me put this here. Okay, so I wanted to start how it started with for you. So you're growing up, as I know, in Georgian family in Nalchik, Northern Caucasus, and then you moved to Georgia in 1990s. So can you tell me a little bit about your early life?
Well, we moved back from Republic of Kabardino-Balkaria, it's called like that, to Georgia because I'm originally Georgian. My parents are Georgian. So we moved to 1992, and it was, for me, it was the most happy day because we grew up with a very big love to Georgia, and we also were proud to be Georgian there in the Russian Federation, even before the borders were not so visual like right now, and everything was the same country, you know, the USSR. So, and when we moved here, I started to. I entered in the art school in the Nalchik already. So I studied there 2 years, and I continued studying in an art school here in Tbilisi. And then when I finished the art school, I entered the College of Art, the Yakov Nikoladze College of Art, the painter faculty. Then I finished that college after 4 years and entered at the same year in the Tbilisi State Academy of Art. Got there the bachelor and the master degree from the Tbilisi Academy of Art.
Right. I wanted to ask you a little bit also, what was the situation in Georgia for people who are joining us who might not have the context of 1990s? As we know, it was a time of civil war, unrest, the Soviet Union just collapsed. So how do you think this early experience growing up in Georgia that was not at all prosperous, was pretty unstable socially and economically, influenced you at some point then?
Yes, of course. I think it was very hard times for everyone, because you know that so when the USSR crashed, and so we became an independent country, and we were struggling for that. And of course, it was very difficult times. Even we didn't have an electricity or heating or nothing. So, and sometimes I'm just thinking how we could survive these years, because it was about 10 years that we lived in a very terrible conditions. And
Right.
of course, everything influenced us. And of course, I was 13 years when we moved back to Georgia. So, and it was my teenagers, so it was quite difficult and hard. Even we sometimes didn't have the money for the public transport to go to the college. And I do not say anything about to eat something there, the snacks or something, the lunch. I just remember the times when I was a student, everyone was the same, and we were very hungry and starved artists, starved students.
Right, in very literal sense, right?
Exactly. Right. So.
And when I look at this, I chose the specific photos that are here because they kind of bring me back to that time. I remember this the Overi Hotel as it looked. Remember how it looked like this, and now this is a posh residence.
Hotel, the registered
yeah. So it's like totally different Georgia that we're coming from as a generation.
Exactly.
So then I have the art schools that you pretty much mentioned. So my question here would be, like, how do you think, how important was this kind of very traditional academic training for you as an artist when you started?
Every time when I studied there, everyone said that the studying was not the same as before, and everyone, it seems like that the people, they do not like anything actually. So, but I got a very good education, really. Maybe sometimes I've got a little bit more a little bit more self-educated myself in some objects, maybe. But we had a fantastic lectures and artists who were teaching us. And when in Academy of Art, I got the MA degree in film studies. Even I never worked in that direction because I already had one daughter when I was a student in academy. So it was very difficult to work in the cinema because it took a lot of physical existence in there. So, and I think, in my opinion, having the academic education is very important because there are a lot of artists, so it's a very big competition in the life. So you have to be stronger than everyone, and you have to have very, very hard skills for that because you have to be very special, and you have to work a lot for that, and of course you have to have some skills for that. Not only imagination can help you. You have to be technically very, 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 very good in that.
Yeah, technically rigorous, definitely. And then then I have selected some of your earlier works. So, and looking at this now, it is so different from what you're doing currently. These women, they seem so tame as compared to the ones that you're portraying now. But also, yes, exactly. One thing that I caught looking at these paintings was also, like, in a way, you started from the sense of harmony here, more or less. And then you have this you had this moment of dissonance, when you tried to kind of reconstruct reality in a way. But exactly. Now I feel like you found your own sense of harmony and your own sense of balance in your latest work. It seems like you came full circle in a way when I look at these paintings. But I'm curious, so when you started, for example, here with this drawing and this girl in blue blouse, in 1913, 1914, what was your idea? I mean, how did you approach painting at that point? So you were coming from your classical tradition that you learned, but you were also kind of experimenting, right, in a way?
Yes, exactly. This is about it. And as you mentioned, this drawing I did by pencil only. So, and it's quite classical for me,
it has so much Van Gogh in it too. I could see that you're influenced by his drawing. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And you see that they are wearing, one of them, she's wearing the dress like it's exactly from the times of Netherlands, maybe for the 17th, 18th centuries, maybe something like that. And her hair are covered, their hair are covered. So, and actually, I really love to draw. I love drawings but I have no time anymore, and and I'm really missing myself in the times. It's very innocent, maybe a little bit childish, maybe very soft. I think my work, they are changing because exactly with me, because I'm also changing. If 1 month I was different person 1 month ago, and I will be different person 1 month later, and when I'm doing something, I always let it come itself, and it's very interesting for me to see what I am exactly when I'm finishing the work. at that moment. And this woman in the blue with blue hair, you can see that she's looking in the sky. I have the series of portraits. I call it Dreamers. And maybe I painted myself because I was dreaming. I was dreaming big dreams, maybe because of that. And she's very harmonic. Like she feels comfortable herself.
Right.
Yes, and it was very interesting, that the blue and the yellow, maybe it reminds the Van Gogh also, because it's you can see many times in his paintings the yellow, especially the special yellow.
Yes, the special yellow. Yeah, definitely. When you go to his to his works. And also, so this is from a little late. It's little later than what we saw before, right? 2015, 2016. So here you already kind of started deconstructing like the traditional archetypal portrait that you were coming from, like in here. Hold on. I'm sorry, from here to this, right? It's different. It's a transition, but I feel like it's also a mental transition. It was a mental transition for you, and you were kind of looking outside of women, but kind of looking at the wider reality and trying to express it on the canvas. So
exactly, and
go ahead.
Yes. And I starting to use this, you can see these zoomorph objects, because that year in 2013, I was I was in Morocco, the first time in Morocco, in Africa. I started to travel. I can definitely say that I was changed exactly after my traveling, and I opened my eyes and I saw many different things, and I was really exciting to see how many things are around in the world. That in Georgia we are still closed here, not now, but at times it was quite different. Absolutely, the people were thinking very different ways. And when you can see the moments of the tribal art, there are a lot of Africa and even these animals which became a very important part in my paintings. And I like that. It seemed that I started to talk about some kind of fairy tales, maybe, and I started to use this the nature, the language of nature, which was not before, because before I always felt myself closed in a room. And then I started to travel, so I opened my mind, and I saw that there are a lot of beautiful things around. So that's, and I understood that we are the part of this beautiful, huge world.
Right. Yeah, and also probably the fact that you interacted with tribal cultures there, it also affected us in a way. So next one, I have this interview of you that I included here from Conversion Device, which was the following series, right, that you worked on.
Exactly.
So let me kind of, yes. You can hear this, right?
Yes, I can see, maybe. There is no sounds. There is a short video.
You don't hear the sound?
No.
No, you don't hear the sound. Hold on. How about now?
Yeah. This video was done partly in my studio and partly somewhere close to the city.
ეხლა რა სხვატაო? დღეს რა სხვატაო? დღეს სხვატაო, მე ამ გარდაქმნის ხელსაწყოს სხვატაო დღეს. გარდაქმნა როგორც ასეთი ადამიანის და ცხოველის შეჯვარება, იმიტომ რომ ახლა რაც ხდება ხო ის რასაც მე ხო ხატავ ანუ ეს არის ეს თვითონ ეს გარდაქმნის პროცესი რაში გადავა ეს გარდაქმნა და როგორ გადავა ახლა ჩემ შემთხვევაში ახლა მე ცხოველებს და ადამიანებს მაშვები ხო ვაჯვარებ ხო და რაღაცა გამოდის ბოლოს მაგრამ ბოლოს რატომ ყოველთვის უფრო ცხოველი გამოდის მე ასე ვფიქრობ, რომ ყველაფერს აქვს თავისი რაღაც ლოგიკური დასასრული და შესაბამისად იმ დასასრულს მე დასაწყისით მოყვება, რა თქმა უნდა, აუცილებლად ხო და
Okay. So, what do you think about this? Let us know. So, and then, so this was followed by an exhibition at Marko Rosco Center in Latvia, as I remember.
Yes, wait, one moment. Zoom. Okay. Yes, I something. Lost something. Yes, this is. I was in 2013 in a residency of Marko Rosco Foundation in Latvia in his native city, Daugavpils. And then I was invited there with a very big solo show. And I was very honored to be showed there because it's very important, one of the important shows in my life so far. And I called it conversion device. This is the quite a transhumanistic idea about connection, the humans and human beings and the animal beings, and how I could connect them with each other. And it seems that I did some kind of experiment. And I like that because the main idea was the ecological pollution in the world. And so it seems like we have to be very careful because we can find we can lose our lives very soon.
Right.
And so it was about the being, the making the new types of beings, you know, who could survive in this environmental catastrophic environment.
So this could be said that it's one of the paintings that have this conversion device in it, right? In a way, not maybe
Exactly.
not fully, but yeah, one of them.
Not fully, but partly. Yes, this is about that. So, I sometimes I think that for me the colors are very important. This is like my language, and by colors I'm trying to explain many things which are inside of me. And I'm trying to write this kind of messages by the colors. Exactly, the color palette is very important, and it's changing all the time. And at times I want to say that I was more graphical because I started to use the acrylic paints. I used to use the oil since I was a child until the 2013, and then when I changed my statement and the idea about doing art, and I decided that because it's very artificial around us, and I thought that the oil paints, they were quite classical and natural, and I needed another materials to explain this artificial world, to show that. And acrylic paints are quite artificial, and even the colors, they're very bright and chemical and very specific. So it seems that it's very good for messaging, not only for the paint. That's it. And yes, this very bright green and red and pink. And I paint maybe 3 years in this color palette. And then something was changed and into me maybe, and I am again back to the oil color.
Back to the oils, yes, and
Yeah.
it also changed the way you work, right? And before we talk a little bit about your latest work, so I also found this very interesting. I mean, for me, it's very interesting to see how your women transformed over time. So can you comment a little bit about, so this here on the right, we also have the conversion device, right? Producing a new body, was one of the paintings. Collages.
Yes, from that period. Yes, this is from that period, but it became very feminine. If the conversion device wasn't about the woman itself, it was about the another ideas. But the later I started to paint exactly everything about women and women, and you can see the body. It's a very, very big problem and question all the time for us, that sometimes we can't accept ourselves as we as we are. And these ones, it's the left one is very poetic. There is like river. Yeah, sometimes I'm very poetic. I'm trying to remember that I love poetry, and not only the messages. Sometimes I want to be quiet. And the right one is I had a very big series of underwater life.
And why were you drawn to underwater life? Just to understand, why did you feel drawn to underwater creatures? And you have them recurring at some points in your paintings, and not anymore, not now, as much. But before that,
But for some years, I was painting this series very low. It was maybe 10, maybe a little bit more paintings. I think more. I love when I'm doing something, I have some kind of dialogue with different artists, maybe, or with the antique period artists, maybe like a Renaissance artist. And sometimes it's you can understand it, but maybe sometimes it's quite hidden, and only me who can read it sometimes. And that one about the underwater life, it was my homage to Hokusai's paintings, that he's a fisherman's life. And I think it was my very big, reference to the Hokusai and Japanese art.
And the same kind of the graphic, the approach to it, like with the seams and the flowing lines, Yes, and even the one on the left between the times, you could almost think that they are somewhere underwater with these forms that are they're kind of submerged somewhere in some hidden place.
Exactly, and the water is very symbolic, and I love to paint the water like a source. And I that I'm doing it right now. So it's very interesting and very powerful element of the planet, like a fire. And
it's important for you.
Yes.
So, and over time, so now this is more recent paintings. One is from 2017. So this is from the residency when you were here in the US, right? In North Carolina, as I remember. And the second one is from the last year. So can you talk a little bit about this specifically?
It was very interesting for me. I love to be in this residence in North Carolina, as you mentioned. And when I've been there, it's that there is a lot of historical movements in that part of America.
In the South specifically, yes, of course.
Yeah, exactly. And because I love John Steinbeck, one of my favorite writers, and I was really fascinated by his novels. And there are a lot of things that I can read about. In the East to Eden, one of my favorite novels by Steinbeck, and it was about the Civil War in the United States. And when I've been in the residence, and I was researching for some interesting characters in the Civil War.
Mhm.
And I found this woman, the Frances Clayton, who went to the army, to the war like a man. She she changed her clothes and cut her hair. And it was very interesting to me because we had also the same character here in Georgia, Maya Tsmeteli, and
Right.
and it
So
was
it's a
more,
parallel, right? Yeah.
yes, exactly. It was very Georgian parallel to me. So, and I painted here in a like with the Maya, maybe.
Right, maybe. And then on the right, we have my private pet shop, which in a way is kind of you're portraying, whom are you portraying here? You're the person to ask.
Yeah, this is from the last year, the solo show Rooms and Beings, which were created by you, Nina, also. This is my self-portrait. This is I do not paint many times myself. Actually, every artist, they paint themselves. That it's no need to paint exactly the face or something.
Right.
It's everything is about us. That there is no way to do anything else. It's just about us and how we see the world, and
Mhm.
how we can how the world can see us and can accept us as we are. So this is the one of the painting I did, 7 or 8 paintings, the people in the rooms,
Mhm.
when the corona pandemic just started, and I started to paint live models in the beginning of 2020. And then when it was not possible to ask the live models to come here because everyone was afraid,
Right.
and I was really scared to come, and I continued to paint my family, my daughter. I like her face, the older. And then I decided, so it's the time to paint myself, and I paint myself with my fears, with my private animals. We all have a lot of animals and a lot of faces inside of us, and sometimes it's good. Like, this is like our pet shop.
Yes.
It's very interesting to see them to paint them. It's very interesting. It was interesting for me as I see them.
Right. And also this mysterious beings, and I remember people reacting to them in different ways. They're trying to understand. It was very interesting to see how people try to understand who these beings are. Like,
Exactly,
there were very
but
different reactions.
yeah,
Right.
exactly. But as we can see, that this is a natural sphinx.
Mm-hmm.
So we know a lot of stories, and they are not good beings, as we know. But it's all
Right.
the time depends on us. How do you want you? And I'm painting. It's a very classical profile.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They look very antique, and I like it's another reference to the ancient history of art. It's an endless reference.
Yes, endless reference, and the structure also, the structure of room that you abandoned for a while, right? So that's what I was saying before, that somehow you found your way back, at least for this series, specifically for last year's series, placing them again in some kind of, the conversion device became bigger, probably including everyone at some point.
Yes, that's
You
right.
can say that.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me a little bit. Yes, so in 2015 you were among the artists who represented Georgia at the Venice Biennale. So, and Nina Mdivani was the curator, and there were works by other artists. So tell me a little bit about this presentation, Venice Biennale. What was the idea behind this? I think, yes, I have a couple of shots. There are not too many good pictures available, but yes, there are a couple. So what was the concept? Sure.
The concept, it was exactly about our problems, the political problems with Georgia and Russia, the borderline. That it's very it still exists, but it seems that the people, even if we do not see it in TVs, it seems that the problem is not exist anymore. But it's not right, because they are the people, the real people who are losing their lands day by day, and it's still happening there. So it was an interactive
installation.
Yes, exactly. So, and it showed like it was like showed by like a DNA chain, and so it must be very disturbing for us. It was filled with the many information from the mass media, the foreign mass media, how they see the situation. You know, that we are nothing. We are a very, very little tiny country. So of course they are very sad to see it, and they are trying to help us with their words, but nothing is happening when you have very big neighbor and quite aggressive neighbor there.
Nice.
So I think this is our usual problem since the Georgia exists, like a country.
But at the same time, I mean, you and myself also, like in terms of the projects, that sometimes we do projects that take place in Moscow, and we interact with the art scene there. But I think for me, and I think also in a way maybe for you also, just doing this kind of art project, working on something which has like Russian component, it also creates some kind of interest and dynamic and more of an understanding about this, the cultural significance of Georgia, of Russia, and kind of trying to find some ways outside of diplomacy and politics to kind of to see each other. And I think it's also very important part.
That's right. Even we have very good connections with the art people in Russia. You know that the politics, they are very different type of people.
Sure. So it's So now I have the couple of shots from last year. So is it important for you that you are a Georgian artist, and especially since everything is so global and interconnected today?
Yes, for me it's very special. It's very important. I want to be a Georgian artist all my life. Georgia was a very big dream for our family. So when we moved back here, I was very happy. So, and since that, I can't see myself to be somewhere else except Georgia. And I just want to. Many times I said that I want to be very universal artist without any nationalities. But I just want to show that here in Georgia we are quite interesting artists, and we can see everything, and we can do the same things. This is just about the otherness, as in your project last year in New York. And so we look absolutely similar like the other people from the world. So, but we have, of course, our differences, and we must keep these differences. And you know, we have to find the golden middle between to keeping these differences and to be the universal. And this is what I'm doing all the time and what I'm working for.
Right. I think I have one last picture. Yes. So and here, since it has this beautiful painting of women. So, and because this is you know, a series of episodes about Georgian female artists. I mean, how do you think how important it is for you to be a woman artist rather than like any artist of another gender? I mean, is feminism and being a woman influence you as an artist?
Yes, exactly. It's very important right now. So far, it's very important. Maybe one day I will change my mind. So, but nowadays, you know that here we live in a very patriarchal country. Even we are more modern than in other republics, for example, and in other Asian countries. Maybe I can say anything, but we have our difficulties. We have that still have these difficulties, and you know that well, the women in Georgia, then maybe they are more strong than men,
King is
But
female,
I
for
think that
sure.
exactly, but the society is still having another idea sometimes, and all the times, we are still struggling for that. And yes, I think that it's very important. It's very important to show that how hard we are, and maybe we are more important. Not maybe. I think that we are more important because we are giving the birth to the men and women at the same time. So that the Georgia, we have a lot of words here, which I means that the mother is everything.
Yes, the mother is the mother earth, mother
Exactly.
homeland is also it's connected to motherhood.
Homeland. Exactly. A lot of words.
Right.
Are just about that. So I'm very proud to be a woman.
To be a woman and also a mother too. So
exactly. Not only being the mother.
I think, Rusudan, that's it for this. But I really appreciate your time and thank you for beautiful work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.